Try and screen share. Good afternoon. Welcome. Technology Drop-In Thursday. My name is Trevor Beck. Today we're going to look at some more fun stuff. Webex has done some really kind of cool, fun stuff with their registration page, so I like to show that off. But let's start off. For those of you that aren't aware, we are getting Microsoft experts to come in online on Mondays at 9 o'clock and do some training. So far we have done Microsoft Lists. We've done Microsoft Automate this week. Next week, I believe, is Microsoft Business Intelligence or Microsoft BI, or sorry, Power BI. And that basically is going to take a look at your different sources of data and give you pretty charts. To sum it up. So whether it's an Excel spreadsheet, whether it's something tied into some other source, some other database, I know that there are some of the guys that are like, we have a BI, a business intelligence or business analyst team. They're actually pulling in reports out of PeopleSoft and making wonderful charts and stuff like that. So you might want to check that out. If not, we are getting them recorded and they're sending us the recordings, and I've got a link here in the show notes. So if you want to just take a look at your own time at those items there, you can go ahead and do that. Updates to registration pages in Webex. I ran into this again. This is the thing that bugs me about these tech companies is they make changes, but they don't document it. I was talking to someone this week, and thankfully we kind of ran into this. So we've talked about before how you can create a sign-up sheet. So when I go into the web version here of Webex, I have start a meeting, which will use my personal URL here. So meet/BeckT, or else I can schedule a meet. This is very similar to what would happen if you were to use it in Outlook and use the plugin. It's a scheduled meeting. The difference, though, is here we get a little more functionality. So what happens is when we go down to scheduling options, there's a section here where to go that says registration. Now there's documentation in our new McEwen Help Center if you want to take a look at how to set up these registration pages. There's a couple of tricks, like you can't have attendees join, so that has to be checked off or unchecked. But you can go now and you can create and customize a thing here. So here is I can add a new question. Now what's kind of nice is they've given you some different fields, and some of these you can pick and choose that they've created. But you can also create your own questions. And then when you create them, they actually stay there. So the next time you come in, you can reuse stuff. So for example, I might go click on here, and there's a question here about people's roles. So when you come in, are you a staff? Are you faculty? Are you a student? Are you general public? So there's all sorts of things that you can add there and then save them as kind of a template that you can draw on all the time.
Should we be able to see your screen, Trevor? Because we can't right now.
What? I started by screen sharing. It says it's screen sharing. Let me try this again. Can you see it now? Yes. All right. Thank you for letting me know. There's nothing worse than doing that. So I'll start again from the home page here. Quickly, come on. Hit schedule. Now it's going to go slow and make things look really bad. Go into advanced options under our scheduling options. We're going to come down here. Let me zoom in a bit. Down here to registration, and then I can customize my registration form. So these are fields that they have included already. So if you wanted a work phone number and all that kind of stuff, but I can also add my own customized question. And I've already got a couple here that I've already created. So I might say, you know, I want to find out what your knowledge level is on the topic that I'm presenting on. So are you familiar? Are you a regular user? Are you an expert on this kind of stuff? I can set this as required. I can add some other fields, or I can just create a brand new question. And when I create a brand new question, we have all these lovely options, you know, single text, a paragraph, or sorry, multi-line text, radio checkbox. So lots of value in that. When you get this up and running and people start to register in your meeting information. So let me just see, I don't think I have any meetings left in here, but in them, when you have a meeting, nope, nothing here. So if I have a meeting, you'll see the Webex meeting, it'll show it here. There'll be a little thing here that says manage contacts. And when I click on that, that will show you your people, but it also shows their responses. So you can, I believe you can probably download that as a spreadsheet, but you can get a quick survey look to see what are the responses, how many people said that they're a student, how many people are faculty, that kind of stuff. So what would be great for me is if I was doing a presentation on a subject and I said, you know, what's your comfort level or what tools have you used in the past? I could suck that down and just bring it into a spreadsheet, look at it in some charts or something like that, and get a good idea before I even start presenting about what the background and the knowledge level of the people are. So that's kind of a nice piece to add to that. If you are like me and you open up thousands of browsers with thousands of tabs and stuff like that, and you can never find anything, this new piece of function in Chrome is awesome. So right now I have 172 tabs open among who knows how many browser windows. So there's all my different browser windows and stuff, and that's just my work one. I also have my personal browser, because remember I have these different profiles. So just in my work one, I have 172 tabs open up, and don't ask me why I do that. I just one of those guys that needs to have everything in front of my face. But what's nice about it is this search here is this little bar at the top here allows me to search all the tabs of all the windows for this profile. So this is my work profile. So if I wanted to look up, I know there was a file here on VLOOKUP. It's going to pull out these two here, and it brings it over to the right window, because remember there's all these browser windows, so it brings it to the right window and pulls up that tab. Even if I had another tab selected, it actually brings up the tab that I'm looking for. So to me, something like that is just great piece to have. Another new thing that they've come up with is something called Chrome tab, or sorry, not grouping Chrome tabs. And what you can do is, if I've got this document open here, and let's say there's a whole whack of things in there. Actually, let me just go back to the other pages. I'll take these ones here. So these are different video tutorials and stuff. But I can go and say, you know what, I'm going to add these to a new group, and I'm going to call this functions. So I can open and close and hide those tabs and they'll be in this group. When I want to open it up again, that's when they can reappear. So I could take all these different tabs and put them into different groups. Now, one of the things to be aware of is that if I close this window here and I don't open it up again, the group disappears with it. So it's not like a bookmark. It's just basically saying, you know, just for now, I'm going to take these cells here or these tabs here, and I'm going to put them off to one side. When you want to open it up, just click on it. The tabs are there. Click on it, close. But if I close this window, they're gone. Okay. If I do close the window and then use the Control-Shift-T or Command-Shift-T to bring that tab back, it will bring that function back. But if I forget about this window and walk away, all the work of grouping this stuff together disappears. So I would recommend a couple other things. You can either just use bookmarks, which is an easy way of doing it. There's also a tool here called, is it Tab Cloud? No, OneTab. And what OneTab does, which is nice, let me just put these together here, and I'll pull this into a separate window, is it doesn't bookmark them with Google Chrome, but it creates kind of a bookmark with this service called OneTab. And so there's all those three links. I can now share this as a web page, or just, you know, use this as like a handy flat bookmark. It's not part of the bookmark, it's just a page. It's like cutting and pasting onto a web page. But the nice thing about this is I can name these if I want to. I can restore them all. I can just open up one or two as I need to, or I can even share it as a web page. So let's say this is a resource. What's kind of nice is now I have a QR code as well as this shortcut key that if I send it to someone, they're going to have all the links in that tab in there. So I often will use that as a kind of a research tool to put stuff together. I'm going to restore all that because I want to have that available again. But you know, within Chrome, it's kind of built in there, so it's kind of nice as long as you don't close it. Google Maps has a live view. This has been out for a while, actually, for some areas. What it does is basically, if you are looking for directions, you hold up your camera, and it will show you overlaid over in what the camera sees, directions to where you want to go. So you'll notice here, let's say this is the location I want. I start scanning with my camera, Google camera, and this is in Google Maps. The camera basically goes, hey, I recognize where you are now. I recognize where you want to go to, which is this Korean place. And then it'll put up directions on your screen. Where's this other view? So there it's going to show me where to go. So I actually used this in Vegas a couple of years ago, which was kind of nice because everything's packed in there and you can't see from one location to the other, but it puts little pins and stuff and tells you how to get to the directions. What's really neat is within Google Maps, if you are sharing your location with other people, so with my family and some friends, I can see where I'm where they are within Google Maps. They can see with me, and I can use these same directions here to get to their place. So if we were at a concert or something like that, an outdoor concert, of course, if we were at an outdoor concert somewhere, I could go on my map and go, okay, I know he's over there somewhere. I can say, use this service here to show me. And I go like this. And as I'm walking, it's going to give me arrows to track that person down. So that's kind of fun. Now that it's warm, I really recommend you kind of play around with that. Oh, I'm just going to make sure, what do we have for one comment here? Just give me a second just to read that. Okay, thank you, April. You can still see my screen though, right, Dave? Thanks. We talked about in the past about the presentation coach that Microsoft PowerPoint has. Basically, when you turn this on, the presentation coach, you turn it on, it will listen to you talk. And then as you do things like and ahs and stuff like that, if you talk too fast, if you're just reading off the text, it basically coaches you and says, hey, this is how you can improve things. This is how you can, choices you should make and things to do differently. That was available on the web. I think on the desktop, excuse me, it's rolling out. It's also now available on your mobile device. So students can basically just practice whatever presentation they're going to do on their mobile device, and they can go through and it'll give them the feedback. What's really cool that's coming down the pipe is the desktop and the web app are actually going to use the camera to analyze your hand motions. So if you're someone that does a lot of this or scratch your head or whatever like that, or because you're nervous, you put your hand in front of your mouth, it's actually going to track that and give you feedback on that and say, hey, maybe don't be so animated with your hands, maybe put them down a bit or not as much. So again, artificial intelligence is going to analyze you, not only your audio, what you're speaking, but also how you're carrying yourself and what you're doing with your hand motions, which is kind of cool when you think about it. So those things are rolling out now, I guess, as well. So I haven't seen the hand motion thing yet, but when I do see it, I will let you know, or else just go play with it yourself. Last thing I want to talk about is Microsoft OneNote. So when I start looking at stuff to put here in the agenda here, before I even get to that, as I'm reading my different feeds and sources and stuff, I will find an article and I will take that and I will save that to a chat, sorry, not a chat, a note on the Mac. So here's, I don't actually have it anymore, but let me just see, here we go, I can use this. So this is what it looks like. So as I go and find stuff, I will save it to this note. So I don't need to copy and paste and all that. It just says save to note. Now, the problem I found out is that when you get 200 of these things on the page, Apple goes, no, we're done. That's it. You can't add any more of those. You have to go and copy and paste the text kind of stuff, which is kind of a hassle. OneNote also has this function. So what I've actually done in OneNote is I've just created this book here called Trev's Tech Tips. And I have these different sections. So sections for me is like a category. In this case, there's general, there's Google, there's Microsoft, there's Webex. And as I go in and do my research or searching for stuff, if I find something I want to add, I can use this add-on from OneNote. So let's say a sense of direction with live view, that's the one we were just looking at. I just click up on here and it says, hey, you know what? I know you want to take this to OneNote. Here's the location. I could switch from Microsoft to Google. So I'm going to do that real quick. That's where it should go. Do you want to save the whole page? Do you want to just clip out a section of it? Or what I'm typically doing is just get in an article. So it basically just grabs a bunch of text and then throws it in there. One of the neat things about this as well, though, is before I send it off, I can use my highlighter to say, hey, you know what? Make sure you highlight this piece of information here, and then I go clip it. So now what happens is instead of having it in that OneNote that I have with Apple, it's in OneNote. I can go into here and I will find all these different articles that I've just been collecting and moving over into here. And this is how I basically prep for this session is I'll go through, because some stuff happens like right now, I'm waiting for Webex to add real-time translation. Okay, so those you speak English, they're going to translate it into French, whether it's audio or it's text, I don't know yet. But because it's still waiting to be rolled out, I don't want to bring that up and start talking about stuff that we don't have access to. I want to wait till it actually has access, we have access to play it. So I put that in the list here, and every one time before the session, I'll go through my list, read through what's coming up, what's available. I see Google Sheets has introduced slicers. I haven't talked about that yet. There's this article we just talked about. And then this way, it allows me to quickly go through and remember all these different things. The nice thing about OneNote is that I can also do this. I can also add links from my mobile device, which is typically where I'm reading anyways. And it's going to do the same thing. It's going to post stuff in there. It will not have the same options of saying, you know, when you clip this, do you have the whole page or something like that? I think it actually just takes the whole page and inserts a smaller version of it. But I still get it in my piece in here. I can go in and re-add it properly through the web browser. At least it's stored here somewhere for me to look at. And that's my use of OneNote right now. That's it for me. Any questions on anything? Okay, I'm going to turn off the recording. I'm going to turn off sharing. And then if anyone wants to chat afterwards, we're still here. So come on, recording.